The other day, my wife asked me if I thought our kids were spoiled. I thought for a second, and then I'm like, no, I think that's just the way they smell. Hey kids, Adam here. Today we're going to use REAPER to try to learn a song. So the other day, my friend Mike from Let's Talk About REAPER, see the link above, was posted something that he's working on a rather famous song, bass line to a famous song. You'll hear it in a second, you'll know which one it is. And he posted a link to a YouTube video which had a guy playing along and he had tabs to the song. And I kind of looked at him like, those aren't anywhere near right. So I spent a little bit of time and I screwed around with it. I'm like, you know what? This would be a really good idea for a video. So here we are making this video for you. Let's head over to REAPER and I'll explain everything that I'm doing and we'll make a little bit more sense of this intro. Here we go. All right, here we are in REAPER. First thing I want to do is just drag over this song and I'll do that right now. You'll notice this is a completely legal version of this song as in the title. I'm going to kind of just stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to play a little bit for, I don't want to start right around here, but I want to isolate the part that I want to really work on first. And let me see if I can find that. I'll put a marker here to start, and then somewhere around here is the end. And I'll end there. And then if I double click in between, it'll select that area. We'll move it over here. And what we have here is this kind of bass. It's basically a major scale with a diminished thing. It's one of the scales in there, but there are a couple notes that are different. And if you play just the standard scale in A, B, and C as it goes up the scale, you're not going to hit all the right notes. Here it sounds, there's the original song. Everyone's heard that song. Everyone knows what it is. In fact, there may be a funny video that I'll throw up here somewhere at some point. What I want to do is I can't isolate the bass line. There's no way in REAPER without some like real surgical stuff that I'm not even going to get into because I really don't know how to do it. But there's some ways you can get that bass line a little bit isolated. Let's take a look. First thing I'm going to do is take the volume a little bit down, because as we start adding EQ and things on here, it's going to move it up just 4 dB or so. Well, you notice there's this really annoying guitar coming out of the left speaker. And that doesn't help the bass part at all. So I want to pan this and see if I can get rid of that. And that's pretty good. Next thing I want to do real quick is I want to render this. So just right click, choose render, freeze tracks, and choose render to mono tracks. And that creates another copy of this and mutes the original. And then if I take this copy that I'm working on and center it, we have just the same thing without the guitar. You can already hear the bass a little bit better. There's some things that we can do to try to enhance that a little bit. The first thing I'll do is put ReaEQ on there. This is my default EQ, so I want to take out the low pass and the high pass. I want to kind of center around this bass frequency. So I'm just going to take this number 2 band here and sweep around and see if I can find it. Sounds pretty good. Let's turn on the low pass and I'm going to take this down. This will take away all like the cymbal harshness, some of the harshness from the vocals, and a little bit of that guitar that's still in there. Bass is really starting to come through now, and maybe just to get a little bit of the kick out of there, turn on the high pass again. I'll bring it down to 40 or 50 or so. that sounds pretty good. Let me try a mid frequency in here and see if I can get the, to sound. And you notice the song sounds like complete garbage right now, but that's not our point here. We're trying to get this to sound and to stick out so we can learn the notes, pick up our bass over my shoulder here and then kind of learn the notes and figure out which notes they are. Let's try mid band, same thing. And then I took another mid band and I kind of did a little bit of cut there, and that kind of took a little bit out. So that's it with ReaEQ. The bass kind of sticks out really well now. Another trick you can do is use a multiband compressor, and ReaXComp is one. This looks a little bit intimidating. All it really is 4 separate compressors that handle a certain frequency band. So like here, you can see the top frequency ends at 200, and I can move this anywhere I want, and it'll move everything accordingly. And let's reset this to factory default. You can choose the threshold, you can choose the ratio, and all your settings, your attack and release and things based on the frequency band. So what I'm going to do first is do this to 4:1. And I'm going to play around with both the frequencies and the threshold, see if I can get the bass to stick out a little bit more. And then I'll do the same for, I probably don't have to do anything for band number 2. I'm going to do the same for band number 3 and band number 4. I think we are there. Let's do a little magic, and I'll get the bass out, tune it up, and then we'll try to pick apart some of these notes and see if we can figure them out. Be right back. All right, here we have the bass. We are in Reaper. We have it all tuned up. We're ready to go. So we don't want to just zoom through and try to figure out all these notes and pick them out without really being able to hear them and slow it down so we can pick out each note. So we want to slow this down a little bit. There's a couple of ways you can do it. I like using the play rate control unless I'm going to chop this part of the song out. I have it turned off for reasons because I've screwed projects up before, accidentally setting it or nudging it with the mouse or something. So if you right click here, you choose show play rate control. It'll put this really, really tiny little knob and tiny little font way over to the right. If you right click again and do play rates and check preserve pitch and audio when changing master play rate, that's what you want to do so that when you slow it down, it doesn't change the pitch of the items. And now let's take this down from 1 to there, 0.7 or so. Now when we play this, it's going to be the same pitch, but much slower. In fact, even let's put it down to 0.5 and see what happens. So when you first hear this, it's a simple A. It's actually an A major scale with a flat 7, which is the Mixolydian mode of A, but it's just notes on the fingerboard. It starts on A and it goes up to B and then up to C. And then it goes up to B. Then it goes up to C. And the last time it goes, it just goes chromatic up. However, there are 2 places where the notes are different. So if you listen really closely to the first time, and I'll play it here. Let me speed this up a little bit. As you move the play rate down, of course, it sounds worse and worse because there's just only so much the computer can do to process it to still have it sound okay. It's hard to hear. I can pick it out. You may be able to hear it better with earbuds. The first time through the scale, it doesn't sound like he hits all 7 notes. It sounds, or 8 notes. It sounds like he's missing one. Not great. Granted, John Paul Jones is one of the best bassists ever who have lived on the planet. But in the 70s, if you make a mistake in a recording and everything else sounds good, sometimes they just make it on the recording. I think that's what happened here. It almost sounds like it's this. And then moving up to the B. So I would say it's perfectly fine to play either way. I think what was intended is just play the whole scale. So now we get to the B part, and there's something different here. Did you hear that? In the second time, the first part is just the regular scale, which is B, you know. The second one, listen to the second to last note. Actually, the last note. What he's doing is he's setting it up for the next scale. And granted, this could have been a mistake too, but I think this is probably more intentional, as it's the same way in the rest of the song. Instead of just doing, he's doing to set up the next shift. So if you listen to that very closely, he is shifting up the scale so that he can get to the C, and it's kind of part overlapping the two scales. Once more. And then the rest of that is just the C scale, and we're still doing the flat 7 here. And the last time it's just chromatic. So you do the same first 5 notes, and the last notes are all chromatic. So if we go back to the beginning, and I'll play it a little bit before and play along to it. So there you have it. Using some tricks of the trade here to kind of slow down songs and be able to kind of pick a part out and use some EQ and some compression to stick that part out and kind of learn it. You can do this with almost any instrument. You just have to find the frequency bands. For me, I'm playing bass, so it's going to be bass that I'm going to do this on all the time. Every once in a while, I may try to figure out a guitar note or whatever, and then I'll play it on bass and octave shifted or something weird like that. But for the most part, if I'm learning a cover, these are some of the tricks that I use to learn it. It's really easy in this song to just kind of go through the scale and just play it. No one will ever know if you don't, shift. If you just do, no one's gonna know. But for those purists out there, and I don't play many covers in my life, but when I do, if I'm playing it true to the original, I want to get it like every note. And John Paul Jones kind of deserves to have every note played true to the original. That's just kind of my feeling on that. So what do you think about this? Do you like this kind of more interactive kind of bass Reaper thing going on? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Are there songs that you need help learning that maybe I could take a stab at? Like I said, I don't play too many covers, so I don't learn too many songs, but I may be doing something, and this song may even be featured in that, which is why I'm not going to play it at full speed yet. I don't want to spoil the surprise, kids. In the meantime, hit the like button, hit subscribe, share the video out, hit the little bell thingy and all that fun YouTube stuff. And until next time, have yourselves an amazing week.
Oh.